return to practice. We'll let you know what the timetable looks like, of course, here on NFL Live. Marcus, even though before the injury, the Ravens were struggling, what do you see as the biggest issue for Baltimore?
I don't know what Todd Monken is doing. I really don't. There is a tremendous amount of evidence that if you let Derrick Henry dictate games, this offense works better.
Yeah.
And him and Lamar dictating games with whether it's sleight of hand or whatever. Look at this on the season. Look at this on the season. 48 carries, 49 carries, tied for 24th. He's 8th in rush yards on those limited carries. He's tied for 6th with touchdowns and 20-yard rushes tied for 1st. And we left a game against the Kansas City Chiefs with 8 total carries in a game for Derrick Henry. Now, this has been a part before Derrick Henry showed up. Y'all know I almost lost my damn mind about the AFC Championship game.
Yep. Yeah.
And the number of runs that the backs had as the number 1 rushing team in the league that season. So again, go ahead.
Do you think or expect it to be different once Likely's back consistently and Ricard comes back?
But Dan, I understand that, and I agree with you on that. But what's your best formula right now? You have to play for what's going on.
Right.
You got 7 people injured on defense, and you consistently want to push the ball down the field.
And you're not winning.
And you're not winning doing that. So, again, I understand the draw to want Lamar to make plays and push the ball down the field. You did not sign this man to be tied for 24th in carries 5 weeks into the season. And if his career wasn't made on volume, we wouldn't have this argument. He gets better the more touches he has. That's been the case since he showed up to Baltimore and when he was in Tennessee.
So I think, not that I don't disagree that they shouldn't be running more. I think part of the issue is they're not running it well. They're not efficient at all. And I've been kind of trying to figure out why, Marcus, and some of the reasons for that. And there's a litany of it. I don't think they're blocking quite the way that they used to. I think the Ricard absence is huge. The more I went back and watched some of those runs, and it not only is it big in the run game, but I also think it's affecting their passing game, not as a pass catcher. But going back last year, when they had Ricard on the field, so when they were in 20, 21, 22 personnel, 2 backs, they had a 69% play action rate. If you're looking at this offense now and you're wondering why aren't they play actioning as much as they used to, and this was the case in the Chiefs game even before it got out of hand, I really think they usually get to a lot of their play action concepts with Ricard on the field. And it seems like removing him from this formula has sort of gotten them all out of sorts with their personnel groupings and their tendencies out of it. And I say that not to say that it's not fixable. It is. It just feels like they have to alter their offense now and accept that they live in a new reality without having 2 running backs on the field the way they did the last few years.
Yeah, man. By the way, Ricard, they're still kind of saying week to week. There's no clear timetable on his return. Dan, on the other side of the ball, there's lots of concerns for the Ravens defense. The injuries are a major piece of this, but what does the tape show you?
This is probably the most head-scratching team through 4 weeks in the NFL on both sides, and I would say defensively, the amount of blown coverages or people out of position is just jarring. You're playing man coverage up top. They run 2x2 RPO in Kansas City. Everyone kind of knows that's the case. Both linebackers fire. There's nowhere anyone remotely close to that slant. This is the one that blew my mind. Down in the red zone, they're in man coverage. No one's even remotely close to covering the back. Both linebackers are just standing in the middle of the field. That's a completely blown coverage on 3rd down, but it's man. This is one Thornton, speed guy at the number 3 down the seam. There's a linebacker. Either you carry him or Kyle Hamilton, who has no one pushing vertical at the bottom of the screen, knows he has to close significantly sooner. And for a team that is, in many ways, so experienced, so veteran-laden, the amount of times that I say blown coverage or out of position or poor communication or late to your responsibility, that's why it's so head-scratching that this group that is as talented and as experienced and as kind of the reality of expectation to consistently beat yourself is very odd to see from that organization.
The Ravens now have a 47% chance to win the AFC North, according to ESPN Analytics. It was a 67% chance after week 2, but the analytics take into consideration some of the things that are going on here and the way they've looked. All right, let's get to some top stories here as we carry on. Tyreek Hill tore ligaments in his dislocated knee during last night's win over the Jets. Our Adam Schefter spoke to his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, who said today's surgery went well. So what's next? Rosenhaus said it's about rehab and he will play next season. The realistic goal is the start of the season. It's interesting. Wow. All right, J.J. McCarthy could return to practice for the Vikings as early as this week. That, according to head coach Kevin O'Connell today. McCarthy, of course, suffered a high ankle sprain in the team's Week 2 loss to the Falcons. The Vikings play the Browns in London this week before a bye in Week 6.
Their offensive line better get healthy because the interior part of that group is poor.
Goodness. Hey, to San Francisco next. Brock Purdy missed practice on Monday. GM John Lynch was on the radio today, said they will take every precaution to make sure Purdy is all right. Neither Purdy or Ricky Pearsall practiced today as the team gets ready to play in L.A. against the Rams on Thursday night. That's all of the latest. There's my camera. Hello. All the news that you need to know about, and we've got more coming your way on NFL Live coming up. Tampa Bay fell flat out of the gate again. They snuck up on me. Well, then I thought I turned, and then it still wasn't that. I was still wrong. Hey, someone here thinks the Bucs need to get the run game going early and often. Next, it's better if I just don't look at the camera and I'm looking at you. And
I never know what camera's on. Yeah. I'm awful
at it. Yes, you do.
Okay.
You're like, give me a close-up.
No.
They'll find
Oh, we got here. Yeah, Hayden Proctor.
Look at this.
Oh, no.
Why don't we have more plays like this? Oh, my gosh. There's nothing to say about it. Look at this athleticism, the level of athleticism. And unfortunately, we ran out of sideline there. Otherwise, he would have scored a touchdown.
And then we have one more I asked you to throw in there on behalf of our guy, Rag.
I haven't seen it, but
Wait a minute. So he's got the celebration on himbo, and then wait for it. You're going to see this is why he's imitating the celebration. Look at Rex go.
that's better than I expected. Pretty impressive. I'm sure. Oh, it looks like he's putting some sort of hex on us.
You got to know why he got such an easy question.
I think he didn't have it at first, and then once you saw the Reds pitcher come in on
it all made sense. There we go. Hey, Russ is still pretty agile. I give him credit.
But I will say this. I've known the man now for more than a decade. I work with him twice a week. I spend a lot of time with him. Rex is the definition of not giving a fuck. That is a fair point. All right. We finished it up. That's where we started today. The defending champion Eagles are 4-0, but it doesn't seem like everything is fine. Jalen Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half last week, including 6 targets for A.J. Brown. Yesterday, Nick Sirianni said this about his disgruntled wide receiver.
Obviously, AJ is very important to this football team. I know he wants to contribute. and, do the things that he's capable of doing. I question nothing about, his desire to play great football, his desire of being a good teammate, his desire to be here.
So fascinating comments, obviously, and Sal, as you told us earlier, what's the most interesting thing about him saying he does not question his desire to be there?
He wasn't asked about it, right? He was not asked about whether A.J. Brown wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle. A.J. Brown wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle. And there was talk in Philadelphia after the win against the Bucs of whether A.J. Brown should be traded. There's a lot of talk on sports talk radio. In the street, people talking, hey, does he want to be here? Do we want to trade him? And can we figure something out at the wide receiver position without A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown is a very introspective guy. He's a deep guy. He really understands his role on the football team. And he's not a selfish guy. He doesn't fit into that stereotype that we sometimes have about wide receivers. Mm-hmm. I interviewed him last year when he was reading the book on the sideline. I just found him to be a very introspective guy.
I think that's an incredibly important point to make, and you actually have changed my perspective on this. Wide receivers, look, that's their job. Their job and the way they get highlighted and the way they get their money. If they don't get the ball, then they're going to feel a certain type of way. It's hard to blame them for that. And we've seen a lot of different receivers handle that a lot of different ways. And at the end of the day, reading a book and posting cryptic Bible verses probably a pretty benign way of demonstrating, right? We remember this from last year, of demonstrating that you are not satisfied with the situation, whether he's actually angry. We actually use the word disgruntled. I don't even know for sure. He may be gruntled. I don't know. But the point I'm making is it's easy to understand why he's not thrilled with his role in the offense. Right. And I think if this is the way he's going about expressing it, in the big picture, it's really not that bad.
Right, and to be clear, there are issues with the offense, but this team is 4-0, and I know it sounds silly to discuss it, but we have different expectations for them than we have for other teams. And so when we see it pan out this way, we're going to have questions, but I think anyone who's thinking of trading him, he's not the issue with the offense. Like, that's a ridiculous conversation. You can bring in another receiver. It's not going to change the route combinations and the lack of play action and their inability to run the ball.
Let me spin this forward. We've talked a lot about what has happened. Will they, in your opinion, need to be more explosive in their passing game in order to repeat as Super Bowl champion?
Yeah, I believe so. And I think we saw that last year. And we almost could look at this A.J. Brown thing this year on Twitter. The only difference was last year he said it to the media after a game, and then the offense changed after that. So, yes, I do think they have to be more explosive. They have to find a way, like the second half of that Rams game, to get A.J. Brown the ball in certain situations. Now, he's getting his targets. They're throwing them the ball. The question that a lot of us ask when you watch him is that, hey, it's a go ball, it's a slant, it's a hitch. You got to find ways. Maybe it's an end around, it's a screen to start the game off. I think early on, really getting him involved, making him feel a part of the offense goes such a long way.
I think it's important to repeat this. I don't think that A.J. Brown is being selfish. I think he is saying we have some problems to fix on offense, and I can help. Right? I mean, if you read the quote that he tweeted, that's really what it's about.
Right.
Like he's saying, I'm offering to help, and they don't want my help. So you can't go an entire second half and have -1 yards of offense. Like, that's just not going to work long term. I get that they're 4-0, but I think what he's saying is there are some problems here. We don't want this to be a repeat of 2023 when we started out 10-1 and the offense was a mess, and then the whole season fell apart in the second half. They would rather it be like last year when they made changes to the offense in like week 4 or 5 because they knew that Saquon Barkley was ripping off these 60, 70-yard touchdown runs and they could lean on that. He's not doing that right now.
The NFL, talent matters, but design and coaching also matters. And to go back to Nick's point, if you look at the route combinations that they're dialing up, and the accuracy as a result of Jalen Hurts being inaccurate on some goal balls that they had. They also played the boogeyman last week in Tampa. Yes, Todd Bowles and that defense has had their number. They played the best secondary that they're probably going to face all season long. They will figure it out. They'll make adjustments. But 4-0 is not debatable, in my opinion. It's just not.
They need explosive plays. And last week they got it with a block punt. The week before they got it with 2 block